Okay guys, well, here's the hot side. So I had originally cut that off. You can kind of see where I cut that. I think you can see that. Yeah, you can see that line. I used Muggy Weld, and I welded this thing back together. And it turned out pretty good. You know, I've never stick welded before. The strike to start's a little bit different. It's kind of like TIG welding. I learned I had to get my amperage voltage correct to get that to strike start to work right. So I've got a video of that. I'm gonna lay that down here in a minute, how to stick weld and why I use Muggy Weld, because that has turned out nice. I got it warm. I still have it at the fire. I'm gonna put my heater blanket on it, or my welding blanket on it in a minute. Keep it warm just so it doesn't crack. But I mean, it welded up great. It was pretty easy for the most part as far as laying that down, and you can tell that's kind of where the weld went. That's where I cut it, and on the inside you can definitely tell. And it was a little hard welding that gap in with Muggy Weld, but I'll figure that out. I'm gonna put a V-band clamp. I'm probably am gonna end up cutting that right here and turning that. So the turbo is 76 millimeter. I believe it's an 88 and something else. I can't remember. Anyway, we'll unbox that later. It's still in the box, but it's gonna set about right here. So my cold side will go right through there. I'm gonna have to do something with all that. Just miss the headlights and probably drill through the factory core support. Put my intercooler on the other side in between the grill. The grill's already busted, so it'll be nice, but nice and easy. Run the hot side back over and around all that over there. I was thinking it was going to be harder than what it actually was, but maybe it's not going to be, or cold side. Kind of run it right back over through there. I was thinking it was going to be a little harder than what it actually was with the alternator and all that over there, but I don't think it will be. So anyway, I am going to go turbo. So I'm going to come over on the other side. I'm just going to use the header that's on it. It's just like this one right here. Bring it up and around, and it'll have its own 2.5 inch pipe. You know, just good old exhaust pipe. I mean, 2.5 inch, just like that. And it'll kind of set right over here. Kind of come in, this is an angle, but it'll come in straight, just like that. And, you know, I've been doing some research on the divided versus the single. It's kind of controversial, but, you know, Little John says that the divided will make more power and spool faster, so we'll see. You know, I don't have a high hood, I don't have a cow hood, and you know, when you start looking, there's not as much room over here as you think there is, especially when you realize where the turbo needs to sit. So, you know, I can't go any higher than here. I've got to get my drain feed over there, got to get my oil feed over here. But, you know, the hardest thing, the thing I'm most excited if I ever have to change the starter in this thing, I can see all the wires again. What do you know? That hadn't happened in a long time since I put headers on this thing. These headers are just so tight. You can see where the spark plug wires, I had to put covers on the boots because they just rough. They're that close. You know, GM never really put a V8 in this particular 82. They didn't plan on it. Now, I know that there's some other models that do and whatnot, but, you know, this one, not. It's tight fit in here. Those headers are extremely tight, so I wrapped them just because they do transfer a lot of heat. I like the header, you know, the exhaust manifold. I mean, I like the exhaust manifold. They handle heat better. You know, I've got plenty of room. If you look, most people are kind of worried about the coil. So the boot, I can either run at 90 and run it around and down back to number 1, or I'll just drape them over and run them down and drape them. That's how it was when I bought this truck. It had had headers just like that kind of came out and ran right over here. And I actually showed them. Actually, I'll grab it. They kind of angled a little bit different. They angled right out just like that. And so they exited out the fender. And, you know, street cars should be quiet. And, you know, I literally can drive this thing wherever I want to. So I needed to be quiet. So it's going to be quiet again. But, you know, for basic turbo applications, you got your hot side, which is your exhaust gases. And, you know, I've been doing a lot of studying on what I want my wastegate. So, in essence, if the turbo sits here, the exhaust, so right now my O2 sensors are down here. But the exhaust compressor will shoot out the gas, and I'm probably going to run mine right out. I'll have to relocate this fuel line somewhere, but I'll have a little bit more room. But I'm probably going to run it right down in between, and it'll go right past the firewall and just kind of dump right in the passenger seat. Should be fairly quiet, and for most classes that we'll be in, that should status quo. Should be good. Should meet the requirements for, you know, exhaust past the firewall, exit past the firewall. So shouldn't be too hard. And so I got to relocate my O2 sensor. I got plenty of cable. You know, this has the Bosch, I believe, the 4.9. Don't hold me to that, but I believe that's what it is. So it's pretty sensitive. It's got the Holley Terminator X factor on it, but you know, the fuel table we'll talk about when I start tuning it. I'm going to use a wiki file from Sloppy Mechanics and basically just use the wiki file, pretty much download it in and adjust it from there. I'm going to run it on E85. I've got dash 8, so I'll have to come in and put a dash right there on my fuel. I don't know. So that fuel line right there is dash 6 on the crossover, but all of this back here, drop this so I can, all of that is dash 8 already. And that guy right there is dash 6 right by the brake cleaner. So right there, that guy's dash 6. I'll have to come back dash 8. But got 8 in all the way forward back, so got all of it set up. I'll have to get some bigger injectors. Getting to go to Summit this weekend, so anyway, but yeah, hot side, cold side. I'm just gonna Y it off over there and bring it right up through here. I hope that works. Keeps the heat down. I made my transmission line stainless steel braided because I knew one of these days it was going to go turbo because it's got a stage 2 turbo cam in the motor. So I knew one of these days I was going to go turbo. So it's pretty much everything's built. It's rings, cam, heads, ARP bolts, head bolts, all the good stuff. I didn't do a trunnion upgrade on the rockers. Lifters are brand new, but the rocker arms, I don't have the trunnion upgrade. I'll probably take the valve covers off, maybe do that. I got the heads from a friend, and I don't even know if it's got 660 springs on it. I don't know what springs they are. They were aftermarket heads, so I hope they are. Who knows? I couldn't find anything on the heads. I got the numbers off of them if anybody wants to take a shot at them, but anyway, I couldn't find anything, and I searched and searched and searched, and finally I just gave it up. So anyway, I'm kind of excited about the build. Got a lot of work to do, but you know, it's got a turbo 400 with a Circle D converter, so it's got some good stuff. It's ready to go. I just got to get it all done. I'll have to change spark plugs out. Those are close. They're not too far off, but anyway. I used those for the nitrous on the Camaro for years. They probably should have been changed before I ever put them in this motor, but oh well. It had a lot of nitrous passes on it. So anyway, that's where I'm at, guys. I'm gonna kind of get all the parts in. I got a T6 divided flange coming. I got a Schedule 4090 coming for this guy. I'm gonna build most of this in stainless. You know, one of the things you can tell, I'll show you real quick. Let me grab my magnet. Maybe if I can find it fairly quickly. Who knows? Yeah. So one of the biggest ways you can tell stainless. Stainless handles heat because there's a lot of heat. And these are actually not stainless. They are, notice that's sticky? That's not, that's steel. Well, definitely a steel adapter, mild steel, but those are stainless headers. I'll be dang. What do you know? That is not sticky, just like that. It is not sticky at all. Good headers. I didn't even know it. I don't remember what I got. I got them off a friend or something. I don't remember. It's kind of how this thing's been, you know, built it all. It's just kind of been thrown together. You know, you got the air conditioner, the AC condenser tube for the intake tube. Works great. Gonna have to relocate the air temp sensor, intake air temp, and hopefully that I can get away with running this LS2 intake style on this thing as well. That it's going to get a little interesting, kind of coming up over here on how to get that in, that cold air charge pipe in there, but hopefully I can get it done and maneuver around the alternator and the radiator. Just stuff to think about as I get there. It's a tight fit. So, but anyway, there's a little bit on the hot side. It's going to look like that. Should have plenty of room for those spark plug wires. Those are pretty tight that are on it, so I won't be using those 10mm wires. I'll just throw the old ones back on it, and you know, or make my own. So fairly easy. So wastegate's gonna go. That's been the biggest thing I've been thinking about. I want them accessible, so I may put this one right at the bend here because this won't be there. I may put this one right here and then bring this wastegate under the turbo if it's, you know, it needs to be in the 90 flow. So it may have to go underneath the pickup because on the divided, you got to have two wastegates, and I've got 240. I've got 144 already, but probably gonna have to get another one. So probably it may get to go underneath in the bend underneath. I just want it easy and accessible. It would be nice if you ever have to change springs or any changes would be good. So you know your welds are key because the turbo is going to be supported by the manifold over here. I may end up having to make a bracket just to hold it on a little bit better. Come off of something. Could come off of a head bolt over there, or you know, whatever. Maybe make a support for it because when the motor moves, you know, your turbo. If I'll use an adapter on the tubing so that it'll flex as well. But just stuff to think about. Your welds are key, because there's going to be a lot of movement. A lot of people don't think about that in the beginning, but that's really key. That's really important. So that's kind of some basic stuff, guys, to building a turbo. So hope you enjoy.